listeners! We have had some problems scheduling regular episodes of Tales from the Glass-Guarded World, so we're doing something new today. You may recall the one-shot we played a while back of the basic rules of the 1982 Star Frontiers role-playing game, published by TSR, and now owned by Wizards of the Coast, who are doing nothing with the property. You may also know that I have long wanted to update the more advanced version of the rules to make them more modern, and then play through some of the classic modules, some of which are very good. So I've now written a draft of some revised rules. My goal was to preserve the feel of the original game, but make it more fun to play by giving players more options and some interesting things for their characters to do. Today, we're going to play a one-shot adventure using these revised rules, and to do that, I've got a wonderful group of volunteers, 3 of them returning guests, and 1 new one. Let's start with the returning players. Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
You'll remember Brandon from a holiday special in which he played Daft Reptile, and from the Lumpin miniseries in which he played Hempin Lumpin. Brandon, would you like to promote anything? Perhaps a webcomic?
Sure, yeah, I draw a, bi-weekly, that means every 2 weeks, not twice a week, webcomic called Love and Hex. It's about a retired adventurer and his relationship with a night hag. It's a very weird, goofy thing, but if you want to read it, you should.
Excellent. Next, we have the other Josh, who we are calling Pink. He, of course, ran the Lumpin miniseries as the DM, and also appeared as Bob Humanman in our previous Star Frontiers outing, and even played in our second Lasers and Feelings adventure.
That's right.
Josh/Pink, would you like to promote anything? World peace and such, I'm sure, but is there anything else?
I mean, I have been told to stop plugging my wife, but just want
With a second kid on the way, it's probably wise.
Yes, but just shout out to her. Shout out to my in-laws for letting me record this in their attic.
Awesome. Another one of the Lumpins returns. It's Pavel, who played Iron Lumpin. He has also done an incredible job coding a custom character creator for our revised rules, which made experimenting with character builds much, much easier. Mm-hmm. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing. Pavel, would you like to promote anything?
At this point, no, not really, but I am trying to start my own podcast, so it's entirely possible I might ask you to just splice in something I record later. And if you listeners are hearing this now, that means that I am not good at scheduling things or making things, so nothing will be spliced in later.
We will see. I'm sure it's going to be cool, because from what I know of the podcast, your setup so far, it's really novel, really interesting. All right, and finally, we have a new player. We are honored to have Rhett, the DM for the excellent Stack O' Dice Actual Play podcast, available now in your favorite podcast app. Rhett, I assume you want to promote that. Would you be willing to tell us a bit about it?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Rhett, and we started Stack O' Dice about the same time I think that you got your show off the ground, 2018. And so we've been inching along. It's a homebrewed world. Magic is only just beginning to re-enter the world, and so there's a lot of weirdness with that, and it's a good mix of newer players, my wife who is fairly brand new to the game, and then a little bit of experience from others. And it's just been a long and winding story that I believe we're in the last season, so hopefully we'll see the end of it here sometime in this year.
Wow. So we're going to wind up our podcast around the same time.
Yeah.
Are you planning to do something new after that, or do you even know yet?
Yeah, I've been kicking around the idea of perhaps a prequel to the current world, and so starting to gather some ideas and thoughts for that, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay, cool. And for listeners of this podcast, you'll be happy to know that Stack O' Dice is also a clean podcast.
Mike, I noticed that when you were doing your introductions, you just glossed right over the cow campaign, which is a great disservice to Pavel.
Yeah. All right, DM
Are you
over
trying
here.
to pretend it never happened? Because it is canon.
Oh my goodness.
That's established.
You're right. Pavel courageously ran the cow one-shot. I guess two-shot, right?
3 episodes,
I think it was 2 sessions, 3 episodes?
Yeah, I think it was 2 sessions, 3 episodes. Yes, which was, wow, I could never have pulled that off myself. That was as chaotic as it gets, in the best way. So yes, that was another thing that Pavel did for us. I can't believe I left that out. I apologize.
It's my daughter's favorite thing that's been on this show.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, I'm popular with the kids.
yeah. Who wouldn't love carnivorous cows? Who wouldn't love
That's
that?
right. Yeah.
At least one carnivorous cow. Correction. And then a bunch of other cows. Let's talk briefly about what we're doing here today. We'll be playing Aramax 1, which is a Star Frontiers one-shot published in July 1983 in issue 4 of Imagine magazine and written by John Tentoblin. As far as I could tell, this is the only Star Frontiers one-shot out there that has a decent reputation as being worth playing, so I'm excited to see how it goes. Like the original Star Frontiers rules, the rules we're using for this are percentile-based. That means anytime a player wants to do something, they roll D100 and hope that the dice show them a number less than or equal to the target number. That target number comes from their ability scores and their skills that they've chosen. The ability scores are strength, stamina, dexterity, reaction speed, intuition, logic, personality, and leadership. These ability scores are also influenced by their choice of species, and they can also move a few points around. Once they've chosen those ability scores, they then allocate 200 skill points to skills. Their chance at succeeding at a skill is half of a relevant ability score plus the number of points spent on a skill. For example, the target number for shooting an enemy with a laser pistol is half a character's dexterity plus however many points are spent on the laser weapon skill. If a character had a dexterity score of 50 and spent 40 points on the laser weapon skill, they'd have a 65% chance to hit a target. And then that number would be modified by factors like range, cover, and other stuff. We've added one more thing to these characters: feats. One of the things the original game was missing was interesting and tactical things for characters to do. Each character gets one feat at character creation, and these feats might be based on ability scores or on their species or on skills that they've increased. And we'll talk about the kinds of feats they can do later. I'm not going to go over all the rules here, obviously, but I do want to mention one more thing: the action economy. I've taken inspiration from another tabletop role-playing game called Frontier Space by Bill Logan and published by DWD Studios. On a player's turn, they can move, interact with one object, for example, opening a door, reloading a weapon, or attempt a skill check. In fact, they can attempt as many skill checks as they want, but there are a couple catches. Number one, every time they try a skill check, they get a cumulative minus 20% penalty on their next skill check that round. And number two, they cannot attempt a skill check if that penalty makes the chance of success 0%. So you can keep trying stuff, but every time you do something else, it gets more and more difficult. And also, for the moment, under the current set of rules that we're using, which we might change, players have the opportunity to dodge an attack as a reaction. So if someone shoots at them or swings at them, they can try to dodge as a reaction, and their chance of doing that is affected by this cumulative penalty. That means a player may not want to take a lot of actions, even though they may have, skill points to spare. They may not want to take a lot of actions in order to have a decent chance to dodge an attack. This is tactically interesting, but it may prove annoying because having 2 rolls for every attack, or at least many attacks, may slow combat down too much. So we may end up changing that rule while we're playing. There's a lot more to say, but we'll talk about it while we're playing. This is a play test, so some things aren't going to work. Is everyone ready to find out how terrible this rules revision is?
Yay.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Yay, let's do it.
Give it a shot.
Let's break things. So I'm going to read the setting intro material here, some of which you may have already heard in the basic adventure. Near the center of a great spiral galaxy, where stars are much closer together than Earth's sun and its neighbors, a human race developed. They were not identical to the humans of Earth, but they were not very different either. When these humans discovered that waves of subspace pi tachyon particles could cross interstellar space faster than light, they realized that they had found a link to the stars. A radio message that would have taken years to travel between stars could be sent with subspace communications in months or even weeks. The humans started broadcasting news of themselves to the neighboring stars and soon found they weren't alone. The humans made contact with an inventive species of insect-like creatures called Vrusk, who had developed limited space travel decades earlier. One of the Vrusk's mining colonies had already contacted another species, the shape-changing Dralicites. The two species had been exchanging information for several years. The Vrusk and Dralicites were pleased to learn of another intelligent species, and they sent a wealth of scientific information to the humans. Using this knowledge, the industrious humans quickly developed interstellar spaceships. The 3 species met in a large area of space known as the Frontier. There they also discovered the Ozirians, a species of tall-maned humanoids. Soon, settled worlds on the frontier became melting pots for the four species, with dazzling mixtures of architecture and alien cultures. To supply the needs of these worlds, the first interstellar company, the Pan-Galactic Corporation, was formed. It developed interest everywhere, from scientific research to farming to spaceship building. The PGC even created its own language, Pan-Galactic, which soon became the most common language of all races on the frontier worlds. Many large companies which started later were modeled on PGC, but none approached the size or power of the Pan-Galactic Corporation. Eventually, other species were discovered and became part of frontier society, including the Osakar. But now, we're going to focus on 4 adventurers, 4 members of an adventuring group, a mercenary group, really. This evening, the 4 of you are sitting in the Drunken Dralicite, a bar in the city of New Hope, near the Triad Low Starport, the second largest starport of the planet Triad in the Cassadine system. You've recently completed a guard duty job on a passenger liner from Gran Quivera in the Prenglar system. And with that job, your debts are paid off. Now you just need to find a job to pay your way back to Gran Quivera, where everything interesting happens. As you try to avoid drinking your last few credits away, you are approached by a new, obviously expensive, Cybot. Before we find out what the Cybot has to say, who's sitting around the bar here? Who's sitting at these stools at the bar? Who do we see? Let's start with Josh, aka Pink.
So you see a middle-aged Brusk, who you can tell he's middle-aged because he's kind of a teal, blue-green for his carapace. He is wearing a bright, shiny, reflective suit that makes him definitely stand out in a crowd. And he is conversing very conversationally with the bar robot.
Sure, yeah. Let's say there's a bar robot. I love that.
Yeah, sure. So he's conversing with the bar robot. You can tell his voice comes out a little strange. He is using a voice box, as his mandibles don't really allow him to pronounce the words in common. So he says it into his voice box, and it comes out in a very computerized voice.
For the sake of the listener, Brusk are insect-like creatures. They have a lower carapace with several legs, and then they have sort of a centaur-like upper carapace with 2 arms and an ant-like head and antennas.
He's missing one of his toes on his 3rd leg back on the left, and he's very insecure about it.
Oh no. Maybe with some extra work, maybe you could buy a prosthetic toe.
That's the next job.
All right. And yes, they can't speak Pan-Galactic or the other common languages, so they use a polyvox around their neck to translate their clicks and buzzes into Pan-Galactic or whatever other language is needed. And let's next go to Brandon. Who else do we see sitting at the counter?
You see Glorp, who is a Dralicite. So a small, like a blob-based creature, I suppose. He typically goes around on 2 legs with 3 arms, although these are pseudopods that can go in and out of his body, and he can grow multiple limbs or no limbs at all, depending on his mood and need. So he's currently sitting at the table with 3 pseudopod arms, each holding a drink or a plate of food or whatever, and he is consuming them by slurping them in through his cell wall of his body. I don't know, are they unicellular organisms or
no? They're multicellular.
They're multicellular.
They look like an amoeba, but they are multicellular.
Yes, but the skin of his body kind of opens up so he can place the food inside it, and you can sort of see it floating around inside as he slowly digests it. Occasionally, and after a little while, he'll reach inside and pull the empty glass out and deposit it back on the table. He's a small creature, but he can stretch a fair bit. Dralicites go through cycles of male, neutral, and female. He's currently in the male stage, although there is absolutely no way you would be able to tell by looking whatever shape he is. His color is, my daughter told me his color is blorple, which is outside of the human visual spectrum. So not easy to describe. To a human, it might manifest as a sort of purplish, greenish, bluish yellow. He is dressed in a military skiing suit that is specially adapted for Dralicites who breathe through their skin. So it's kind of like a mesh, sort of like a full-body fishnet stocking.
And for the sake of the listener, a skiing suit is designed to protect against physical harm. So bullets, swords, that kind of stuff. And the reflective suit that the Rusk is wearing, and Josh, you forgot to tell us the Rusk's name.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. So he has a pretty simple name. It's Verspiclic.
And that is preceded also by the name of the company he's working for.
That's right. When he introduces himself, all Rusk really identify with whatever company or corporation they're a part of. So he introduces himself as S.C.U.M Verspiclic because he is part of the Splendid company of Upstanding Mercenaries.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that suit of that reflective suit that S.C.U.M Verspiclic is wearing.
I wasn't even close.
Oh no, S.C.U.M Verspiclic.
Perfect.
Okay, you're right. I was nowhere close. Didn't at all resemble it. That suit is in albedo suit, and it reflects beam weapon damage. So let's go to Rhett next. Rhett, who else do we see at the bar?
Wazna Yazir is sitting there. He's wearing some sunglass-looking device on his face. If you imagine Geordie LaForge's visor, his spectral visor, it's something like that. But he reaches up as the Dralicite deposits an empty vessel on the table, twitches his lip a little bit, and touches a button to basically close the visor for a moment. He doesn't want to watch this thing eating. Looking at him, he has gray skin, he has a glossy black mane of hair around his head, and then reaching from his wrists to his ankles are these loosely hanging flaps of skin. He's wearing a Space Force camouflage pattern military skin suit, but otherwise he's looking rather disinterested with the world at large. He's hoping to get back to his computer where things make a lot more sense.
So if we were to summarize so far, we have an insect looking like an insect centaur kind of thing. We have a blob, and then we have this, well, what resembles like a tall ape-like being, a tall, slender ape-like being with wing flaps under his arms and goggles or a visor on, and a large mane around his head. And then we finally have Pavel. Who else do we see, Pavel?
So Thegra is an Osakar, which is this very tall, gangly creature. 4 legs, which are currently all folded up. She's trying to do her version of sitting and not towering over the table. She is covered in these thick white scales, which are her skin, effectively. Most of the scales are covered in stickers. She is a big sticker fashion person, as all Osakar are, but her thing currently is stickers. A lot of them are mushroom-themed, but some of them are very prominently used to display outwardly that she is a medic and a doctor and can render medical aid if necessary. I don't know what the pan-galactic version of that is.
It's definitely not a Red Cross, because that would get us in trouble.
Yes.
They're pretty litigious about that nowadays. So it's something else.
Yes.
It's I don't know, we could make that up. It's a red something.
Yeah. Maybe I was going to say Red Star, but that's also maybe not the best visual.
Yeah, how about a Red X?
Red X, I love it. Yeah.
It's a sideways cross.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Totally legally distinct.
Yep. That 45-degree angle makes all the difference, and those stickers are on all 6 of her shoulders, and on her head and kind of running down her back. Unlike Wazna Yazir, she is watching Glorp eating with a lot of interest.
Okay. We have these 4 creatures, and I love that none of you selected humans. That's great. All at the bar. And as I mentioned, you are approached by a new, obviously expensive Cybot, a bipedal robot. And I actually have an image. I forgot that I have an image of it. Let me see if I can find that. I have the art from the original adventure here. Actually, I have 2 images. I'll show this one first. It's got the wrong background to it for some reason, but that's fine. And let's share. The original art.
Nice.
Wow.
Nothing exciting, really. Yep, that's the original art of what the Cybot looked like, and I'll have another picture of the Cybot in a moment.
Very Metropolis looking.
It looks like a cross between C-3PO and the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Ooh,
Yes.
Great description. And it's in black and white
Yeah.
because they didn't have color back
Yes.
then.
Yeah, the desktop publishing revolution had not yet occurred, and so the art is not great, and the formatting it's difficult. I mean, everything had to be laid out by hand. And anyway, let's get back to what the Cybot says. The Cybot says, "Greetings. You are the Mercenaries, calling yourselves S.C.U.M, are you not?"
Every time he hears scum, giggles a little bit.
What does a giggling Drellicite sound like? Little bubbles pop at the surface of the Drellicites' skin.
He came up with this name as a prank back when the group formed, and nobody has clued into it yet.
"I have been asked to bring you to see my owner, who has a job in which you may be interested." The Cybot gestures toward a door behind the bar, leading to a private room.
So at this point, he stops his conversation with the bar robot. He was just expressing some of his disdain for his old company and how they fired him for being a free thinker. Well, they said it was because he set fire to a major industrial complex, but really it was because he was a free thinker, wanted to have his name on his desk. But anyways, he looks over at this Cybot. He says,
"Can I ask you who it is that is inquiring of us?"
"You may ask, but I will not tell you. You will meet this person in just the other room." And the Cybot just stares at you passively.
all right, well, he'll get up out of his chair that was very uncomfortable for his 8 legs, giant lower torso. But he will get up and he will kind of look at the other members of the party to see if they're willing to follow.
One moment, and Glorp reaches inside of his body and extracts an entire intact skeleton of a bird and places it back on the table and gets up. Let's go.
I appreciate that you're leaving a tip.
Yeah, I didn't eat that bird here. That was just in there.
I'll go. That's one good-looking Cybot.
Tiger will shrug through his shoulders.
Is Wasna Yazir like a robosexual?
I think it just means that it's an expensive and nice piece of equipment.
Oh,
Yes, that's what I meant.
sure.
And it is. So the Cybot leads you back into this dimly lit room behind the bar and gestures at chairs around a table. Partly hidden in the shadows is a middle-aged Vrusk. And as you sit down, the Vrusk switches on a small device on its neck. It has something that's modified its polyvox with. The Cybot gives each of you an envelope, and the Vrusk begins to speak in a heavily distorted voice.
Good evening, gentle beings. In each of the envelopes you will find 100 credits. This is a consultancy fee. As such, it also buys your silence about this conversation. I have a small task for you. It involves some personal risk, but you will be adequately compensated. Before we begin, I am curious. How did you arrive at the name of your organization? Are you really calling yourselves S.C.U.M?
No, it is the Splendid Company of Upstanding Mercenaries. Well, it's a very classy name.
I am not sure why he is laughing. It was an excellent name, first proposed by Glorp and our human leader, Greg. Greg is dead.
Rest in peace, Greg.
I would like to state for the record that it was not my fault that he was dead. No one could have done anything. I am an excellent physician.
I mean, he was missing his face. It's hard to do much with that.
Yes, putting him back together was not in the picture.
The Vrusk looks around, maybe slight expression of concern on his face, but he looks satisfied with your explanation. Now, you can't see him very well. He's obviously trying to hide who he is. He's in the shadows. And in fact, I have art for this too. I almost forgot.
Now, I should be able to see maybe a little better detail.
In fact, yes, you can, because Yazirians have excellent low-light vision, especially if you remove those goggles, that visor.
Rhett, do you do like the librarian, where you like kind of tilt them down?
You know it. I'm all about the libraries.
There's the art. Now, granted, there's no human in your group. You can see the Cybot, you can see the Vrusk, and the rest of them are supposed to be you.
Wow, they really expected us to go full human.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess that's pretty common. Even today, a lot of players, new players especially, tend to choose human. Yeah, it's a little human-centric.
Is that woman wearing, like, bikini armor in a sci-fi setting?
No, I think it's supposed to be a bodysuit.
Okay.
It's a skin suit.
Yes. Not a skin suit, but a skin suit. No, I think it's just supposed to be shadows and a bodysuit, a skin suit.
She has very 70s hair.
Yeah, this is 1983. Feathered hair is in.
They all look like Luke Skywalker.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of amazing. This adventure published in his magazine, they managed to get a bunch of art for it. So we should be happy we have anything. It's not even Dungeon Magazine, it's just some other thing. So he begins his explanation.
About 5 kilometers south of here is the local collection array for the solar power satellite system. It is owned by Aramax Power Factors, APF, to their friends and enemies. APF also uses the site to house their central computer. It holds all their records and virtually runs the company from day to day. I, for reasons of my own, want the computer destroyed. If you are willing to break into the site and do this, you will have more than my gratitude. Your total fee will be 5,000 credits each, half now and half on completion. I will also provide each of you with a ticket back to Gran Quivera on the next starship. I will also provide some material aid to you: transport, weaponry, tools, and explosives. All you must supply are the skills to do the job. There is one proviso. You must do the job tonight. It has been arranged that only 5 or 6 guards, instead of the normal squad of 12, will be on duty, and none will be heavily armed. All the night staff will have been sent home. You should be able to overpower the guards on duty, hopefully without killing anyone. It might be sufficient to threaten them with overwhelming force. Do you have any questions?
At the mention of destroying a computer, Wazna Yazir goes noticeably faint and grabs onto the nearest chair with one hand and one foot to steady himself. What has this computer done to deserve such a fate?
I cannot tell you why you must do this. I can say the computer has done nothing wrong. Rather, it is the actions of other people. It is what people have done to the computer.
It is always people.
Other questions?
Out of character question. In our normal Earth human terms, how much is 5,000 credits? Is this like a life-changing amount? Like lottery winnings?
Not a life-changing amount, but that's a lot of money. I mean, you could each buy a defensive screen with that. You could each buy a bunch of ammunition. You could, that's a lot of money.
Could finally buy that sonic sword.
Well, Verspiclick will say,
I do not even get out of cryosleep for less than 7,000 credits.
Okay. I think you're trying to persuade him. So why don't we do a skill check?
Nice.
Why don't we go to social skills here? I think you're trying to persuade. So what is your persuade skill number?
70.
70?
Wow.
That's a good persuade.
Oh.
Are you the bard of the group?
Wow, okay. So you need to roll percentile, and you need to try to roll under 70. And there are no particular penalties or bonuses to this roll. This is a straightforward attempt here.
All right, I rolled an 11.
Get him, Pink.
Wow.
You know what? That is a critical.
He gives us 10,000 each.
A critical success. That is, anytime you roll the same digits, any multiple of 11, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, and so on. If you succeed on your skill check, that's a critical success. And if you fail on that skill check, that's a critical failure.
Wow.
But you succeeded critically. So the Vrusk strokes the back of his carapace, his head, and says,
Very well. We shall make it 7,000.
Well, that was just to get out of cryosleep.
Here comes the fail.
Are you going to try to persuade him to pay you more? Because this is going to be more difficult.
No, we'll stick with he's going to go for more. He's a greedy Brusk.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a minus 20 penalty, which is a pretty hefty penalty.
Okay. All right. So now I'm shooting for a 50.
50.
Okay. I got a 20.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. All right. So it's not a critical success, so he's not going to give you a lot more, but he's going to say,
Very well. 7,500.
You've got a deal.
And Glorp whistles and says, "Oh, that's going to buy me a lot of improv show tickets."
Do you have any other questions?
What kind of security do you expect them to have other than a reduced guard?
There are 2 security robots on site. However, I will be providing you with an access pass that should allow you to enter without triggering the alarms or alerting the security robots.
What does exfiltration look like? How do we escape at the end?
Exactly.
After destroying the computer, you should be able to simply leave.
the Vrusk gestures to the Cybot, and the Cybot steps forward and holds out an envelope. Who wants to take the envelope?
I think the face man.
I mean, I'll take the envelope.
Baseman.
Baseman?
Yeah.
Okay, so Verspikla Tikadik, you step forward and take the envelope, and inside is a cred stick, and the cred stick contains half of that payment up front.
Okay. Although he will add, he will say,
The final request. If we make it out of this, my friend Waz would like a date with your Cyobot. He admires her equipment.
What are you doing? Why? He's blushing.
He's being your wingman.
The Vrusk looks skeptical and says,
I will assume that is a joke.
so inside this you find a cred stick with enough for each of you to get 3,750 credits.
nice.
That's in addition to the 100 that
In
we got.
addition to the 100 he's already given you.
Wow.
It also contains a ground car key and a security pass card bearing the logo of APF Security Central. And the Vrusk then continues.
The car outside contains all your equipment and a roadmap showing your target. I have reprogrammed the pass card, and it should get you past the outer gates and into the building. After that, you are on your own. You will simply be able to leave when you are done. Finally, don't try to take the money and run. The rest of your pay will be waiting with my Cybot at the starport, along with the tickets. There is a shuttle at 0800 tomorrow, and a starship to Prenglar is waiting. I am rich and well connected if you do try to cross me. Vengeance is easy for someone in my position.
The Vrusk gets up, and with a curt gesture to his Cybot, he and the robot leave the room through the back door and exit the bar.
Exfiltration is easy. Tell that to Greg.
Poor Greg.
Well, I mean, half of him escaped.
It did certainly make the coffin cheaper.
That's true. Half price is not bad.
What do you want to do now?
This seems a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
I agree.
Well, as they say, don't look a gift horse. Don't look a gift horse. Why are you waiting?
What's a horse?
Is there anything else you want to do before you want to go check out this ground car and what it has in it?
Is it a convertible?
No. Sorry.
How much does it cost to rent? Could we rent our own ground car in case we don't want to rely on this one being present when it's time to get out?
I guess you could.
I like it.
Sure. It is evening now, so you don't have a lot of time to waste, but you could, if you wanted to, go spend an hour arranging for a car rental, filling out all the paperwork. And
Oh, then we gotta check it for damage and,
yeah.
Take pictures of all sides.
The insurance is a scam.
No, all right. We'll just take the ground car.
yes.
Best not to leave a paper trail.
I'll check it out first and make sure everything is in order.
Okay, yeah, if you want to, check it out. Well, we'll get outside, and then you'll have a look at it. You walk out the front of the Drunken Dralosite and press the key given to you by the Cybot, and the Galax Tech Comet parked in front of the bar chirps at you. So this must be the car. You want to do an inspection of it? Yeah, do a spot or search check. Search/spot. That's the name of the skill.
Let's see here.
Or if you want to do a technical inspection, you could do a knowledge identify check for the technical skill
Yeah,
if you
let's
want.
do that. Is it okay to roll in Foundry?
Yeah, that's fine. You could do percentile roll in Foundry. Great idea.
I rolled a 25, and that is under my score of 52.
Great. So you look this vehicle over. You don't see anything obviously wrong with it. It's nothing special, but it's a functional ground hatchback. You can see as you look it over that there is a box in the back that presumably has the equipment that he said he would provide you with, and it appears to be in decent shape. In fact, it looks like this is probably a rental.
Glorp immediately goes to the box. I want to see what's in there.
So you open the hatch and look in the box, and you find, oh my gosh, a lot of stuff. There's a ton of stuff in here, in this crate in the back. There are 3 automatic pistols with 6 magazines for them. There's a laser pistol with an energy magazine in it, although that energy magazine only has 15 S.C.U, standard energy units. There are some more energy magazines. There are 2 more energy magazines as well that are fully charged. There's an electro stunner with a fully charged magazine. There's a grenade rifle.
Ooh.
With a Doze grenade and 2 Tangler grenades. There's a machine gun with a tripod. If you want to use that, you have to take an object interaction to mount the machine gun on the tripod and then fire it. Otherwise, firing it from the hip is going to give you a massive penalty to try to hit anything. And there are 2 machine gun belts of ammunition, so 400 rounds. There's a med kit. There's a tech kit. And there are 4 kilograms of Tornadium D19 explosive with a variable timer/detonator.
Rhett, I'm assuming you're writing all of this down.
Yes.
Nice.
Of course he is. That's the kind of good guy he is. And I should note here, you're not normally allowed to walk around a city with all your usual armament. You're definitely not allowed to walk around with all this stuff.
Stick it in the Dralasite.
Even if it were licensed, like you're not supposed to walk around with all this heavy equipment. But we're going to hand wave that and assume that you have a way to get to your weapons, and you can get all this stuff, just sort of keep it stashed in here until you arrive at your destination and get it out. So I imagine like you open it up and you see this massive armory, and you quickly close it and close the hatch before anyone sees the machine gun in the trunk of your car. And we're not talking like, a submachine. We're talking like an MG42 type machine gun here, right?
Yeah.
Only Rhett knows what you're talking about.
If Glorp had eyes in the traditional sense, a tear would be running down the corner of one of them. But because he doesn't, you just see like an oddly colored secretion come out of his skin.
Do you want to decide who takes what now, or do you want to worry about that later?
We'll probably worry about it later.
Okay, great. Who's driving?
Is there a driving skill?
Yes, there is.
There is. For the moment, I have not fleshed out the rules for driving, and this episode won't rely on driving skills, really. There is a driving skill. The original game has really elaborate rules for chases and how vehicles handle and all that stuff, and I haven't had time to look into all that. I've been too focused on just the basics. So we're not going to worry about all that. I'm just curious who wants to drive.
I'm going to assume that Thegora is too tall to operate this thing. She's just going to start folding herself into the back seat.
Yes, just getting in is a bit of a trick for the Vrusk and the Oscar.
I'll do it. So Glorp gets into the driver's seat and realizes that at 1.3 meters he's a little too short to reach the pedals, so he just stretches out his pseudopod an extra foot.
You assume the ideal driving shape.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that makes Dralasites like really good drivers. Like
Make him roll. Make him roll, Mike. Make him roll on the driving skill.
Yes, I have a 25 driving skill.
Well, you're not doing any fancy driving, so I'm going to give you a plus 20 bonus to this check.
Oh no, that's still only 45%.
And we're going to see how it goes, okay?
All right.
See if you can get out of the parking lot without digging anyone.
Oh, wait, you're asking me to parallel park? Or?
It's in reverse. It's in
Make it
reverse.
an H.
Oh God, 41! I did it.
41. All right. So you managed to drive there without any exciting incidents, which is too bad because I was imagining playing out like a police officer pulls you over.
A crate of weapons in the back.
Yeah, exactly. He has no reason to look at the back, and we could play that out, but there's no need. Instead, you simply drive with nothing exciting happening. You drive casually, and the car passes out of the Triad city limits, out to the desert. There isn't much other traffic at night, and there aren't even many streetlights out here. And eventually you turn onto a side road following the directions on your chronocom that you've scanned from the map. And your chronocom is your wristwatch computer. Are you taking any special precautions as you approach this facility? You can see that there's a fence around it and that there are lights all around it. It is well lit on the outside. And in fact, I'm going to move your tokens so that you can see the outside of the facility. Let me move you across. There you go. So if you look at Foundry, you'll be able to see that.
I think Waznagazir is going to take a quick scan, a visual of the exterior to see if there are any obvious monitoring devices, cameras, that sort of thing, sensors.
Yeah, make a spot/search check. Search/spot, same thing, whatever.
My score for that is a 22, so we'll see what the roll shows. A 56. Nope. It's a nice-looking building.
It is a nice-looking building. In fact, guess what? I have art.
Ooh.
There it is. That's the facility. You can see that there are some pylons by the gate. There is a gate here that slides open. There is a fence that goes all the way around. And then you can see in the background this facility, which has this little stair-step stone outside. And then there are these massive satellite dishes that are for receiving the power which is transmitted from satellites orbiting the planet.
It really looks like it was drawn in the 80s.
It does, because it was.
They must really get every channel.
Does the fence appear to be electrified in any way or otherwise charged?
I'll tell you what, why don't you do a knowledge identify check under the technician skill?
My score there is a 32, and I rolled a 94. I'm just shy of a critical failure.
Yeah. So I should mention that 95 to 100 is also going to be a critical failure. Just like 01 to 05 is a critical success. So you look at this thing, you don't see any signs that it's electrified. You don't see any obvious signs of any other security measures, except for you can see that there is a security card slot by the gate.
Oh, we have one of those.
Looks good. You go first.
Can I look around to see if there's any guards anywhere?
Make a search/spot check.
All right. So I chose to be very good at a couple skills rather than being okay at a lot of skills. So I get a 50 in search spot.
I love that in this game, 50 is very good. 50% is very good.
Especially for first level.
I rolled a 98.
Oh no! Oh no!
Your eyes fall out.
Is that is that a guard lurking behind the pylon? You think there might be a guard lurking behind one of these gate pylons?
Look out! Look out!
And I make everybody duck.
Nothing happens. So I'll read a little bit more text. You arrive at the perimeter fence. The access road passes through it at a large gate, which is currently closed. On the right-hand side of the gate, at a height of 1 meter, is a card lock. Beyond the gate is the Air Max 1 building with a car park in front of it. Actually, from your perspective, it's off to the side. But that's where the main entrance is going to be, is off to the side. You can see those cars in parking spaces, right? Several ground cars, a hover car, and 2 ground cycles are parked there. One more note, that picture that I showed you depicts the facility during the day, but it's currently night. You're at the gate. Your Vrusk friend thinks that there is a security guard hiding behind one of the pylons by the gate, but you don't see any sign of that. Does anyone else want to do anything?
I think it's a bad idea to look suspicious, so I just pull up to the security card slot and stick the card in.
Okay. The gate trundles open, and and you may now enter the complex.
Wasna Yazir is going to take a moment to turn the car around so it's facing ready to go.
Oh, okay, cool.
You just grab the wheel from me.
Oh, we're still in the car? I thought we were all...
You're still in the car. He drove up to the gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to drive to the parking lot first,
Yeah.
then you can turn the car.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you should position the car so it's ready to get out of here.
Yeah, do you want to actually drive it in, or do you want to leave it here outside the gate?
You're asking me to back in? That might be a roll.
I think you can competently back up the vehicle.
All right, I do so.
Do you want to drive the car in, or do you want to leave it parked out here?
Well, that would be a long walk to the facility, right?
I mean, you can see the facility to the south of you. You can see that there are lights on in some of the windows and not others. Each square on this map is a meter. Oh, and by the way, there are measuring tools over on the left. You look at the left-hand side, there's a ruler symbol, and you can use that to mark distances. For example, I can see that you are, it says 55, oh, it's going to be in feet.
Just say meters.
Dang it.
Sorry, Brandon.
Oh, dang it.
I mean, if every square is 5 feet, we
3.3
can just
feet per
divide by
meter.
5 and pretend it's meters,
Yeah,
right?
just call it meters.
Yeah, divide by 5, and that will give you the number of meters. So it's 11 meters to the side of the building.
Okay. I think, we wouldn't want to be too far from the thing, from the car if we need to make a quick getaway. Is there, maybe I can just choose a less well-lit parking spot in the parking lot? Because it's weirder to see a car haphazardly parked on the roadway than it is in the driveway, or in the car park.
Okay, so maybe you want to park, instead of the car park, maybe you want to park just around the side of the building in a darker area then. Is that correct?
A place where you would legitimately be okay seeing a car parked there. So,
Here's the problem. All the places where you would park a car are lit, because that's what you do with places where people park cars, is you light them.
We should have asked for a map of the facility, in hindsight.
He wouldn't give us a date with the robot. You think he'll give us a map?
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you drive around the outside of the facility?
Sure.
Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll drag your group of icons here. I'll drag you all. I'll put you in a little block here, like you're all in the car together. I'll drag you around the outside of the facility.
Ooh, I like that.
And this is the original map from the original adventure that I've carefully updated to make it easier to read. So you notice as you drive around that there are some gates here, sliding gates, and there's like a warehouse that you're driving by now. And there's some stuff in it. And there's a ground truck parked in a parking spot here.
there's a couple of dudes up there.
And there are a couple motorcycles here, ground cycles, and then there's the parking lot at the front. And now you're pulling around to the front entrance. And as you pull up, I'm going to read a little bit more descriptive text. The car park here is quiet except for your vehicle. I guess it's an even quiet thing because all the vehicles are electric. There are 5 standard ground cars here, 3 in APF company livery, and 2 private unmarked ground cars. And then there's an expensive sports car, a Maxgo Flash, parked at a sloppy angle here. 2 ground cycles in APF livery are parked around the corner to the south. They have lights and sirens on them that indicate they are security vehicles. There are 3 heavy security doors at the front of this entrance area with thick bulletproof glass, but the left-hand door has been propped open. Some of the lights are on inside, though you can see through the windows that the lights are off in other rooms. So here you are. Do you want to leave the vehicle here? What do you want to do?
Leave it parked next to one of the other cars, I suppose. Of course, the expensive sports car is the one parked badly.
Of course. If this were real life, it'd be a BMW.
I'll say maybe we park at the kind of south end of the parking lot so that we're closer to motorcycles. Maybe we disable them before we go in so that if somebody decides to chase us, maybe they have some issues.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, you could disable those. Do you want to disable them in a subtle way, or do you just want to beat the crap out of them?
Snip, snip.
I think subtle and quiet.
Yeah.
I put down the grenade launcher, looking disappointed.
Well, it only has Tangler grenades and a Doze grenade, so it would be difficult. I mean, I guess you could try to make them fall asleep, but I don't think it'll work well. You would need to make we could call it a repair machinery check if someone has that skill.
I think that's wasn't his years. area of expertise.
32 is my score for that. So, yeah, I'll go around and start reach into my tech kit and pull out some pliers and start reaching under the hoods of these things and snipping wires as I go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give you a big bonus. It's easy to break stuff. So I'm going to give you a plus 30 bonus to this.
Okay. A total of 62 for my score then, and I rolled an 89.
Okay. I'm going to say that you have disabled them. However, it's going to be obvious to someone who comes up that they're disabled.
It's a big knife sticking out of the tire.
With the S.C.U.M logo on it.
No. Yeah, so everything's quiet. It is... You know what? Everybody make me an intuition check. Try to roll under your intuition score.
It does seem awfully convenient.
Oh, I got 38, which is over my intuition score of 35.
I got an 8.
I got 44 under 50.
Okay. And what about Verspiklik Ticketic?
Exactly. Oh, gosh. 86.
Okay. So Verspiklik Ticketic and Thegra. No, I'm sorry. Who else rolled high?
Yeah,
Was it Thegra. Yeah, so Thegra, you don't notice anything about the situation. You're maybe just keeping an eye out for any trouble. But Glorp and Wazna Yazir, you think something strange is going on here because that door, that security door, shouldn't just be propped open.
It's too quiet.
Awfully convenient.
And there are no guards outside. It's not weird that the security robots haven't bothered you. That's not weird, right? Because you use the pass, you should be able to get in. But it is weird that the complex is in the condition that it's in.
Yes, this smells like a setup.
So what do you want to do now? You want me to move you around to the entrance area?
Sure. Is there... Wait, there was that one entrance with the door propped open. Is there another entrance elsewhere?
So there is this back entrance here by this warehouse where there's this ground truck parked.
Okay. And we can see from this angle at least 2 people in there.
Those are security robots, and they are in charging stations.
Okay.
If it is an obvious setup, we should avoid it.
Yes.
Is there any way you can disable the security robots?
I could give it a try.
All right, so you want to walk into the warehouse?
Very carefully.
Sneak into the warehouse.
Quietly.
All right, are you using stealth?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, go to your physical skills, I think. Yeah, and look for stealth there.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Yuck.
58 out of 55.
Okay.
35 out of 30 for Thegra.
Okay.
It's hard to be stealthy when you're 3 meters tall.
66 out of 25.
S.C.U.M versus Piklik Ticketic succeeded.
And I have a critical failure.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And I actually failed too. I have a 20 in stealth, and I rolled a 24.
Oh, God.
Okay, so you're all trying to sneak in, but there's actually little bits of equipment, like little bits of electronics and stuff, sort of scattered around the ground, and you're tripping over that.
Who works like this?
And one of you bumps the open door of this ground truck, and it squeaks as you do that. It's not going well. You're not sneaking. If there's anybody here to hear you, they are hearing you. You are not being subtle. Let me read you the description of this area. This is the warehouse. The storage warehouse is largely empty. In one corner stands an incomplete power array element. That's that mess up to the northwest. It's spindly wires twisting all over the place. Next to that is a partially disassembled ground cycle without wheels. A row of crates is stacked by the north wall. 2 robot recharging stations are positioned by the east wall. There are 2 robots charging in them. They don't seem to take any notice of you as you walk in, making all this noise. There is a large commercial hover truck with an APF logo parked in the loading bay, with the passenger side door left open.
Anything inside?
To clarify, that thing in front of one of the robots, the northern robot, is that a person as seen from up high, or is that just junk?
that is something that was on the original map. I think it's supposed to be one of the robots. I'm not really sure. You can ignore that.
Just some of the miscellaneous electronic equipment.
I think Wasna Yazir is content to head for the robots. Anything else is not worth his attention.
Okay. What do you want to do with him? Do you want to do a knowledge check here to figure out something about them, or what would you like to do?
Yeah, because they're security robots, Wasna Yazir is interested in making sure that they don't activate. And so I suppose he is trying to figure out what might cause them to be activated.
Okay.
And prevent it if possible.
And is there any way I can help him with that, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, how would you like to? What kind of skill would you want to use to help him with this?
So I'd like to use my search spot to see if there's one that says on or off, like a button.
Okay. If you could try that, make a search spot check.
So that's a 50. Nice. A 13.
Yeah.
13
Wow.
under 50. That's great. So you're using the help action. That'll give your friend a plus 20 bonuses. He's sort of telling you, help me find the something or other on this robot. So you begin looking it over. Go ahead and make that. First, make a knowledge check with robotics.
Okay. My score there, base score, is a 52.
So it becomes a 72.
That's right. And I got a 59.
Woo!
All right. So let's see. What do you know about these security robots?
They have an off switch on their chests.
Yeah, so some information about them. There would normally be 4 robots here. You know that these are these 2 are security robots. There would be a couple other robots here, and you can tell by the information that those other robots that would be here would be used for maintaining the solar equipment, the equipment for receiving the transmissions of power. The dishes have to be aligned from time to time and repaired, and there are robots here that do that work, but right now they're apparently out doing it and not here charging. These security robots themselves are... does it say anything about what level they are? I think they're just level 1 security robots. They're pretty quick. They move very fast. They have a movement of 90 meters. So they're very fast. They are armed with 2 Tangler grenades. One of them has 2 Tangler grenades. One has 2 Doze grenades. One has an inertia screen. One has an albedo screen. And these are integrated. You can't remove them. At least not without doing a lot of work that you probably don't have time for. They are programmed to restrain intruders. And in terms of what would activate them, it would be some kind of unauthorized access through a door. So if someone opens a door that they don't have proper access to open, then they would be activated. You could also reprogram them in some way to do something for you, or they could probably be programmed from computers inside the complex. Right now, as long as you don't bust through a door that's secure, they probably won't do anything.
So that front door might actually be our smartest choice at this stage.
Yeah. Maybe looking at that, Wasna Yazir has ethical problems with altering robots, and so he would rather just make sure that they don't leave their docking station, so he's going to attempt to disable them.
Okay. All right, so you can use the skill for that, right? I think we have a skill for...
That's right, disable robot. That's also a 52 score.
Was that the plus 20 on there?
Yeah, I'm going to apply the plus 20 there as well.
Nice.
You're still being helped. And actually, you made a successful knowledge check, so you get a bonus from that. Right? If you make a successful knowledge check, that will give you a bonus on applications of related skills related to that knowledge check. So you get a plus 10% chance.
Thanks, that on-off button has made all the difference.
I knew it would.
46.
Yeah, you're able to turn them both off. That's fine.
Nice.
Good night, sweet robots. He pats them consolingly.
Now, there is a door here by that ground truck, and you can see that Thegra is standing by it. That door leads into the building, but you're not sure if it's secure. It does have a security pass card slot, but you're not sure if your card will work on it, and you don't know if it would set off any other alarms.
Like by the attempt, you mean? Or
yes, you don't know if trying to open the door or bust open the door if you needed to, you don't know if that would set off any alarms.
I guess I should have asked, did we ever take all the guns and stuff out of the trunk?
I don't know. Did you?
I'm definitely carrying that grenade launcher.
Okay, you've got the grenade launcher. Anything else you want to grab out of there? There was a laser pistol. There were a couple energy magazines, and the laser pistol had an energy magazine in it. There was all sorts of stuff in there.
I'd like the machine gun.
Okay.
And the automatic pistol ammo.
Okay. That machine gun is really heavy.
Okay, how heavy is that?
It weighs 20 kilograms.
Yeah, 20
According to
kilograms.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
It's more for mounting on the car.
All right, well, then I can do it, but I'm going to drop the bottle that I've been carrying.
The bottle you've been...
Yeah, that was one of the projectile weapons listed. It just said bottle.
Okay. You drop the bottle. It smashes against the concrete floor.
All right, and now I'm at 30 for 30.
But what about the belts of ammunition?
This is more for intimidation.
Do the belts of ammo, do they weigh stuff?
4 kilograms per belt.
Machine gun belt weighs 4 kilograms.
Oh, gosh.
Do you have any more bottles you can drop?
Thankfully, the tripod is on wheels, so you can just move it around wherever you
No, it's not, unfortunately. It's not on wheels, yeah. You need the tripod, too, if you're going to use this thing. I mean, you can fire from the waist or fire from the hip, but it would have a big penalty.
Yeah, for the record, a tripod is an unusual thing. It's usually a bipod.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I took a lot of grenades. I'm gonna hand those all over to Glorp.
Okay.
You keep mispronouncing my name. It's very rude.
Glorp.
Glorp.
Glorp. There we go. So I give you 2 dose grenades, 2 tangler grenades, 2 frag grenades,
Wow.
and a hollow flare.
You're not getting these back.
Okay, so you have traded some equipment, and now one of you is carrying a full machine gun. What do you want to do now? You've got this back door, or you could go back around to the open front door.
Fegra, do you want the med kit?
I am already carrying one, thank you.
Maybe the front door is better, but we should just be on our guard.
Those security robots are disabled, so any triggering should be out of the question now.
Oh, if you say so.
There might be more inside.
I'm already trying the card in the slot.
All right, you try the card in the slot. Now, remember, he told you that he had programmed it to open the gate, but you slide the card through the slot, and it lights up green.
Hey.
What? Good call.
What is the name on the card?
There is no name on the card.
Greg.
Oh. It seems to have worked.
We're going to continue through, I guess.
Okay.
Let's just crack the door open.
Yeah,
and
let's carefully open the door and see what's inside.
I'm gonna just slurp out part of my my skin that, like, I guess I'm not sure. Do I have eyes?
There are little spots. If you look at the original art, I'm going to show you the original art. You can see what Drellicite eyes look like. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will sort of extend the portion of my body that contains one of my eyes and just sort of push it through the door crack around a corner.
Ooh, I like it. That's cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is cool. I love the aliens in this game. It's just, it's so creative. All right, so I'm going to share what a Drellicite looks like here, complete with cutaway details. But your eyes are these weird
Oh, they look like
collections
nerve
of
balls.
Yeah, of like nerve sensors.
Yeah. This sort of like the nerves sort of stretch out into the skin.
I assume you can just kind of move them around to wherever you want on your body.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You could put one on a finger.
Yeah, just sort of like you see my little eye blob sort of more or slurp its way across my body into my finger, and then I just put my finger around the corner.
I love that. Okay, so you look around the corner. I'm going to move the Drellicite up to the door here. And you look around. In fact, I'm going to move you in just so you can see more. Okay? And then I'll describe what's in the room here. The lights are on in this room, illuminating what is obviously a combination of a light repair shop and an office space. Various tools and robot and computer components are scattered across most of the available table space in the room, as well as a good part of the floor. There's a door on the other side of the room and a row of windows to the south. Sitting at the only computer terminal is a man in a paramilitary uniform, and he has not noticed you. That's the end of part 1 of our Star Frontiers playtest. We'll have part 2 next time. I'd like to thank Brandon, Pavel, Pink, aka Josh, and our special guest, Rhett, from the Stack of Dice podcast, for doing such an amazing job with this adventure. And thanks to you, the listener, for being patient while we work to try to get more of the regular story episodes out. If you're curious about the Star Frontiers role-playing game, you can find a huge amount of information at starfrontiers.fandom.com. Don't forget to listen to the Tales of Bob podcast, where we're currently playing the Quest for the Frozen Flame adventure path. And we have some big surprises coming up, too. Thanks for listening. And we're going to do a hand clap. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 hand clap to help in case something gets messed up. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, I've never heard it sync up that well before.
Yeah,
that was
that's the
actually
best I've ever heard.
better than normal. Huh.
Way to go, guys. We've won.
Let's shut
We
down
can
the
just stop
podcast.
there.
Experience points all around.
That's right. It's not going to get any better than that.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start the introduction. Any last things before I get started?
Yeah, Pink, how do you pronounce your character's name?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
Right.
it's pretty obvious, but it's first
What?
Okay, fine. I'll say it.
Someone was coughing over it.
It was Perspiclic. Exactly.
All right, that's
Easy
good.
peasy.
That's it.
And Mike, you left out one of the O's in my character's name.
Oh, no.
That's very important.
Okay,
How
hang
dare
on
you.
just a moment. Oh, my gosh. I'm so embarrassed.
Oh, actually, I accidentally wrote down correctly in my notes.
It's O'Glorp. He's Irish.
No. Hey,
Glorp, son of Glorp.
you're mispronouncing it. That's an insult to Dralisite culture, you know? You got to say it
Is
right.
it Glorp?
No, it's Glorp.
Oh, no. Is it a total language?
Okay, so accent on the third. Oh, got it.
Yeah, if it doesn't sound like your stomach rumbling, you've got it wrong.
The tone modulation is on the second one. That's exactly it, right? You have to mimic the sound of an air bubble escaping your cell walls.
Oh, boy.
Glorp.
Hate it when an air bubble escapes my cell walls. It's so embarrassing. What are you
This is
doing?
no time to hit on people.
Sorry, I for some reason I can't move the screen. I'm stuck.
Right click
click.
and drag. Right click and drag.
Oh, awesome! I should have asked way earlier. So my little token has just been spinning around. I've been desperately trying to figure out how to move.
Thank you for your patience. Did I miss anything important?
Yeah, we beat the thing. We're good.
Oh, wow. Okay. Everyone gets 10 experience points. Good job.
Fantastic.